boost your confidence and even turn back the clock, make you feel years younger. And by taking this journey on your own, it can be tough, and that's why again TNU comes in. They are the leading fitness movement in Ghana with over 3,000 success stories, and they're saying the best part is that you don't have to give up on your favorite Ghanaian dish. So I love that I can still eat my jollof, eat my banku, and still eat my fufu, and be a part of TNU. All right, if you're ready to start your journey towards becoming the irresistible new you, contact TNU today on 0533 659 222, 0533 659 222, or follow them on Instagram and Facebook. Do yourself a favor and follow them on Instagram and Facebook at TNU Fitness, and trust them, your future self will thank you. Also to Duffy's Health and Beauty, thank you for supporting us this entire month and bringing moms the Easier Motherhood series. And Duffy's Way can get 100% organic health and beauty products for all the support Duffy's is giving us. If you need to get anything, whether beauty needs for yourself or your family, please stop by Duffy's Health and Beauty. The great thing is that wherever you are, you can find a branch closest to you. In fact, I'll just mention a few. You can find my Spintex adjacent KFC, Timber Community 4, the Around Kingdom Bookshop, Timber Community 25, the Adov Trackle in East Legon. Find them at American House close to H Hotel, East Legon at Tadringan or after Port Belly opposite Shalom Fabrics, in Achimota, the opposite the new bus station, and other branches. And they keep opening new branches. So I'm sure that wherever you are, there is a branch that you'll find closer to you. And whether it's the hair growth cream, the healthy glow shower gel, they have got you sorted out. And ladies, if you have been experiencing irregular menstrual flow, you need to get the Duffy's or Hema feminine mixture. It also relieves menstrual pains and it improves fertility. You can call Duffy's today. Or let me also mention that on Fridays, on this Friday, as we wrap up the Duffy's Easier Motherhood series, we'll be broadcasting live from Duffy's premises at East Legon, close to H Hotel. And if you're around the neighborhood, we really would love to meet you, all our lovely listeners around the East Legon area. And thanks to this partnership with Duffy's, you get to enjoy some great discounts from Duffy's. So keep your dial right on Sunny 88.7 FM. So I was saying that you can call Duffy's on 0533 776 893, 0533 776 893, or 0202 514 020. Thank you to our sponsors.
Duffy's or Human You, Duffy's or Human Feminine Miss Chanty. A massable so many so Emma, ye be as I enter your beer, a sense, yes, ye magasa. Duffy was your I can say, in tear their mouth for comfort. And you can that is shower gel and pour on money. You want to dear and a cocoa dear. What did Jaria and my natural look? Mesu de Misu Duffy's feminine cleanse and then a capsules, yes, and my mean think Carboni be a me Jimmy Hoodia and Cassa. Duffy Nupano, and what dance here be free. Duffy Sana, about my inna.
Open the door to Duffy's Health and Beauty, Ewo East Legon American House, Kumasenso, Yebeng Tech Hospital, and ye map info. FDA, I didn't cut to Yatu.
Akosia, is that you? Wow, you've lost so much weight. Please tell me your secret well. All my favorite clothes don't fit me anymore.
Mumia, TNU, Ghana's leading fitness movement. TNU will offer you daily meal plans so you never have to worry about what to eat. You will also be given fun exercises to do from home. And my favorite part, TNU will give you a personal fitness coach who will motivate you and Kasa.
But Akosia, this TNU, I hope I can still eat my fufu and Ghana jollof. Herbs and leaves, dear sister, no lie.
No, I'm a near Adrian. At TNU, you will get to eat all your
Amazing sponsors for this entire month of May for the Easier Motherhood series, Duffy's Health and Beauty, and also TNU. Experience the new you. Well, this morning my guest is the beautiful Vanessa Bennet. She's an author, a founder of Heavenly Miracles NGO. Oh, this woman wears lots of hats. She's She's also CEO of Stay Jesty Events and Spa and Adepa Bakery. And she is one mom who's shown great hope and resilience during a tough time in her life, having a preterm baby. She's going to be sharing her story with us, her journey as a mom with us, and we're hoping it encourages a mom out there today. So keep your dial right on Sunny FM. We are live on Facebook. You can also join in via YouTube. Good morning, Vanessa.
Morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm well.
Oh, I'm in love with my microphone this morning so we can hear you loud and clear. All right, Vanessa, tell us about yourself and a little bit. I know I've mentioned quite a number, but if there's more you didn't say, you can add it. And about your family, Vanessa.
Okay, so Vanessa is a young mother, wife, devoted Christian, and as she said, I wear a lot of hats.
A whole lot.
I started in the beauty industry. I started by doing makeup, and then I branched into skincare. I'm a licensed esthetician, so I have a spa, and I went into events 2 years ago.
Okay.
And now I have Heavenly Miracles NGO because of my preterm baby. It's actually named after her. Her name is Heavenly Muriel, and Muriel is French for miracle. So
Heavenly Muriel. That's such a powerful name. I'm sure she's going to be answering where from that name, what does it mean, how did you get that name,
and she would have to explain that.
And anyone would be inspired by her story, which is what I love about it. And so you talked about being a mom of preterm baby. Heavenly Muriel is that baby you had.
Yes.
When tell us about having Heavenly Muriel. Was she your first?
No, Heavenly is my third.
Your third
baby.
Okay.
So
how old is your first?
She's 4.
And second?
3.
Okay, and then Muriel popped up.
Yes.
Tell us about the birth of Muriel.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about my first and second a little bit because I had them just 1 year apart. So after I had the first star, 3 months later I got pregnant with.
Was it intentional?
Oh no. I was told when you're breastfeeding you can't conceive.
Me too, I've been told that.
It didn't work for me. So me, I
Your
don't
story
give
was
that
different.
advice. I don't give that advice at all.
Still be careful.
Yes, be very careful.
Okay.
So after I had my boy Majesty, so you notice that my spa and is named after them, Star and Majesty, Starjesty.
Okay.
I said no more babies till maybe Majesty is like 3 or 4. Then I can conceive. Then when I have the baby, he will be about 5, and then that means that will be like 6.
You had it all planned out.
Oh yes. But that's the thing about plans, right?
Yeah.
They never go the way we think they're supposed to go. So I was just having the time of my life, getting back to doing my businesses full time because motherhood, 2 babies under 2, it was quite difficult to juggle all those things. And immediately I put them into school, I had some free time to like go about my life, do what I want to do. And
move around when you want to.
I know, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
I discovered I was pregnant with Heavenly when I was 12 weeks pregnant. I was already 3 months gone. This is because I was on birth control. I was taking the injections, and so I wasn't menstruating regularly anyways. And so when the menses wasn't coming, I figured it's just the birth control. But then my symptoms started to persist. The symptoms I have when I'm pregnant, I'm nauseous, I'm tired.
You're on birth control.
Yeah. And she happened.
She's a miracle baby.
I know. So I went for my scan and then to determine how old she is because I didn't know. And I was told she's 12 weeks.
Wow.
I took it from there. 2 weeks later, my water broke.
Oh no.
Yes. Wow. And this is from someone whose water has never broken before. I've had 2 full-time pregnancies and I've never experienced that. But when it happened, I went to the hospital. I was told, you have a condition called oligohydramnios, which is just a condition that happens when you lose fluid during pregnancy.
Wow.
I said, wow, there's a name for everything.
Exactly.
So it means this happens. And I was told, yes, it happens. But the truth is, it normally happens to people when their pregnancies are far advanced. And so
Because you were like 12, you said 12 weeks and then 2
14
weeks
at the
after, so
time.
14, okay.
And so I asked, what happens when this happens? I was told, we immediately rushed the mothers to the theater, have a CS, because there's no more fluid around the baby, and then we moved the baby to NICU.
When the water broke, were you at home?
I was at home. It was 2 a.m.
You drove yourself or you were
My
driven?
husband.
Your husband was there.
So I said, what do I do? And they said, listen, your baby shouldn't even be having a heartbeat. The baby the fetus should not be viable. That's the term they use. It shouldn't be viable at this time. There's a strong heartbeat. The skull and everything is perfectly aligned. And
Wow.
we don't understand why this is. So this was not just the doctor that was telling me this. The sonographer said the same thing. The nurses on duty said the same thing. So in my mind, something miraculous is happening here,
Yes.
because how is it that none of you understand what is happening right now? That means at 14 weeks, if this happens, I've lost the child. But I had no fluid, and then the baby was
Baby
still
had
there.
a strong heartbeat.
And
That's
he
powerful.
said, let's prepare you for a DNC, because that's the safe option. That's the next logical step for you and for the baby. And I said, no, but how do we prepare for a DNC for a viable fetus, as you put it? And so I think I'm going to go home, and you have to tell me how I can be okay, or how we can do this.
You said you were going to go home.
Yeah.
What did they say when you said? What was their reaction?
My doctor has been my doctor for years, so he's handled me through all my pregnancy. So he kind of knows I'm a little bit stubborn. And so he said, the only thing that's going to help you is to put you on bed rest. You have to drink lots of fluid, lots of water, coconut water, juice, like anything fluid. And
Okay.
so that's it.
That's it.
And he said, yes, that's it. I said, no, there's no medication. There's nothing I can do. Like, I said, no, there's nothing you can do. You just have to go lie on the bed.
Make sure you stay hydrated.
Make sure you stay hydrated. And so I went home, and then I started to do research on oligohydramnios. I read on Google, I read from Google Scholar, I watched YouTube videos, and there are a lot of things out there, but nothing positive.
Wow.
Even people that have it, whilst they're very much progressed, like 30-something weeks, the babies usually don't make it.
They don't, eh?
And so this is what the doctor was trying to tell me in a subtle way, that it's not worth it. Let's just do the DNC. And week after week, I would go to the hospital, and I would be told, I think it's time for you to do this thing. And I'll say, oh no, I found some medications online. They were hypotheticals. Something called arginine, which is supposed to boost fluid levels. And so I asked the doctor about it, and he said, yes, it does that, but you don't find arginine alone. Yeah, in other medications, what you take whilst you're pregnant.
Okay.
So he doesn't know how that's going to work. Again, the baby is too small, and taking arginine will put pressure on the kidneys, because it's going to force the baby to pee a lot, and then there will be pressure on the kidneys. And so again, even if you have that baby, child's going to come with health complications.
By this time, what's running through your mind? Each week you're going to the hospital, you're being told, let's get this DNC done, and yet your daughter still had a strong heartbeat.
Okay, so around the time I was like 16 weeks, I kind of made a deal with God.
Okay.
I was on my bed one day feeling overwhelmed, and when I'm overwhelmed, I cry. And so I remember crying and then playing. I have this playlist on YouTube, different songs from Elevation Worship, from Emoji. They are really like uplifting songs, those feel good Christian songs. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. So I was playing them, and I was playing Promises. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't think that God gives us anything that is too much. I don't know what God is doing. I've had 2 perfectly fine pregnancies. I mean, normal, first and second. Why should this be happening now with the third? So I feel like I'm going to go through with what God is doing. I'm just not going to go to a hospital and say, okay, I'm ready, let's have the DNC. Once the baby is okay, I'll keep my part of the deal, and I would also hold on. So if I go to the hospital and then my fluid has increased by just 1 centimeter, which is not good anyways, but I know that God is
working.
me. And so every week I'd go to the hospital and my fluid would have increased just a little bit. Just a little bit. And that's how I went through. But right from the beginning, I was told that chances are I would not get to full term. Chances are you go to NICU. And then around 22 weeks, I had a very lengthy chat with a doctor because I was seeing different specialists. I was going to different places, seeking different opinions, trying to find a miracle.
That must have been a lot on you.
Yes, because I was trying to exhaust everything. I wanted to make sure that I have done everything
Exhausted
before
all your
I
options.
gave up. And so I had a lengthy chat with one doctor, came highly recommended at Eurocare, and she told me, look, I'm even surprised that you've held on this long, and you know so much. I would have thought you were in the medical field, because by this time I had read.
You could lecture the doctors.
And so she told me, look, this is the reality. Even if you were to have your baby at 28 weeks, and one other thing, I kept losing fluid right from the 14 weeks. I kept losing fluid. It didn't stop. And so
it would go up by a little, but you'd also lose some?
Yes. And so she told me, even if we were to get me to 28 weeks, I'll deliver the baby, and the baby would have a 50% or less chance in a Ghanaian NICU, because that's the chances of babies. And she was talking about bigger preemies, not micro preemies like the one I was going to have. And so since everything till that point had been sort of a miracle, I was just praying and hoping that even if I don't get to 10, I'll get to 30 something. I'll give birth to a bigger baby, so that the baby's
at least you can get that chance of your baby surviving.
Will be better.
And so how did that progress eventually?
By the time I got to 26 weeks, I started to bleed out.
Were you home?
I was
at work?
home.
Okay.
I started to bleed out. It was early one morning, and the bleeding just wouldn't stop. It was so bad. It felt like when you're peeing, like the force that used to pee there. It was so bad. And so I, again, was taken to the hospital by my husband, and they tried everything to stop the blood. Everything. They will give me this medication, and then it's supposed to subside the bleeding, but it wouldn't even budge. Like nothing changed. And this went on for 6 days.
You bled for 6 days?
It went on for 6 days, and the only reason why we were waiting was because baby was 26 weeks, and he just wanted me to like hold on a
little bit more, maybe
till 28 weeks.
Okay.
So my legs were up. I was lying on the bed. I wasn't getting down. I wasn't moving, but even just a slight movement in the bed, and then there's a gush, lot of blood. And by the 6th day, my blood pressure was very low. I had been transfused on 2 different occasions. It wasn't working. I had started shivering. So they're like, I think
it's time.
It's time. No matter what. Your life is also important. So let's take that baby out, and then let the baby fight in the NICU. And let's take care of you as well. And so that's what happened. Exactly on 27 weeks, I had my baby.
How did you feel when you saw your miracle?
Well, the first time I saw her was during my CS. So she was very tiny, and I'd seen my other babies.
Yeah.
So
you were no new mom, so
yeah. But she was so beautiful. I remember that. The baby is not even fully formed, and she's just beautiful. So. And she was gasping for air. They had to rush her to the NICU because her lungs weren't fully formed or functional yet. So yeah.
Tell me about your time in NICU. I was with a colleague, and when she shared her story, I'm like, oh my, I didn't know you've been through all of this. When she told me the stresses of being NICU, I'm like, oh boy, God help each mom in NICU right now. Can you share your time in NICU with us? I have a message here. This one says, I'm quietly sitting here and sobbing because I'm remembering everything that went on during my episode after 5 years of marriage. God is always good and always has a plan. Can I request Daffy for God this morning? I'm grateful for every preterm who made it and didn't even make it. Still, God had a plan. This message says, the things mothers hear and find out at antenatal care and labor wards can just feel so strange, scary, overwhelming, and even unimaginable. Pregnancy has always been a faith walk. Only God has been our strength and the lifter of our heads. God bless you, sister. I always say any woman going into labor, coming out, you got to give God the glory. You've got to give God the glory. Tell us about your time in NICU. I mean, you've been in hospital, come back with your baby, and you know, life goes on. And this time, it's different.
This time I've had a baby. I had a CS.
Please draw closer to the microphone for me. Yes.
This time I've had a baby. I had CS, which I'd never had before, and even the CS itself was very, very risky. It was bad because I went with my elder sister to the hospital when she was having her CS.
Okay.
And I think she was out in about 25 minutes. I remember lying there and thinking, it's been too long.
Too long.
But I didn't know. I didn't have a concept of time by then. But when I came to the room and then the doctor came to see me, I asked him, how long was I in there? Because I felt it was too long.
Yeah.
And he told me we're in there for 95 minutes.
Wow.
Because there was so much going on. There was so many blood clots and everything. So this is me waking up, processing this in so much pain. And obviously I want to see my baby.
Yes.
So I'm showed where the NICU is. Picture a mother in pain, like recovering from CS, wobbling around, going into the NICU, and then seeing this tiny, very, very tiny human being, like my palms, tiny. And she was connected to a lot of probes, and she was, the way the breathing was it wasn't the best. You could see that she was struggling. And I remember looking at her and thinking to myself, what have I done? I really went through with this and then brought this child to the earth to suffer. Like, why is she breathing like this? And everyone in there was quite excited. Your baby is a fighter and she's doing so well. And in my mind, I'm like, this is a baby that is doing well. Then I don't want to see one that isn't doing well. But then they knew that the baby wasn't doing well. She had swallowed a lot of my blood, and over the night they pumped her stomach blood, and in the morning showed me a big jar, and then they had pumped her tiny stomach, my blood that she had been swallowing over the period I was bleeding. And I just remember asking God, kept her safe, kept her alive. There must be a reason.
Yeah.
Please keep her safe. Anything that is left, anything that is not developed, please do it for her.
Amen.
Do it for her. Because I've heard stories of you go home with a disabled child, you go home with this, and
where were you hearing? Which people were telling you these things?
Some of the healthcare
workers.
Some of them. I think they were trying to scare
not that
me
you
into,
could go, but you will.
I will.
I mean, they're two different things.
The things that they were seeing at the time. I said, well, that's the human report. But I've not dealt with the human reports for a long time. I've only dealt with God's report, so I'm going to continue dealing with God's report. So I'd come in, ask, what is wrong with my baby, or what is being done? You tell me, I read up on it, I ask you more questions. What is the treatment option? Okay, why is this being done and not that, and all that? So they know that you know
what you're about as a mother.
And so they would now tell you everything, like into details, what you need to know. And then at the end, you can see from their faces, and sometimes you can deduce, even when they are being positive,
they don't feel there is much hope.
But I'll just say, okay, thank you. Then I'll sit down, pray over here.
By this time, were you going to the hospital, or you were in the hospital with her?
So initially I was in the hospital, but then I was discharged. I went home. My house was quite far from the hospital, so I got an Airbnb close to the hospital. I stayed there for 2 months.
2 months, that's how long she was there. How did you manage during that time? So your family were with your husband, the other children, and you had to be with your daughter. How was that time like for you as a family?
No, it was stressful. It was hectic. I think after I had the baby, I think I checked out.
You just checked out, yeah.
My main concern, I didn't know how much having a preemie was going to affect me, like my mental health, or I didn't know how much it was going to affect me. But I remember the day I was discharged, I packed up my stuff. I was discharged in the morning, and I asked one of the nurses, can I stay? She said, yeah, can stay as long as you want. I ended up leaving in the night. And when we were leaving, I told my sister was with me at the time. I told her, I don't know how I'm leaving the hospital without a baby. I've never left the hospital without
your baby.
My baby before. And guess what? As soon as I got home, my 2 kids ran and hugged me and said, Mommy, where have you been? Your stomach, where's the baby? And I just sat down and I started crying.
You just started sobbing.
And then they were like, what's wrong? I couldn't really explain it. I just said, your baby, your sister is in the hospital at the moment and she needs some help. So she's going to be there for a while. They said, okay. And then I knew that it wasn't going to be easy for me to be apart from her till I know she's okay.
How did you manage the stress and anxiety of that period, being separated from your other children, having to be in an Airbnb to be there for your girl in hospital?
I'm not going to lie. I felt like a bad mother. I felt like I was choosing
her
one
over
child
the others.
over the others. And it was Christmas. And I had hyped up Christmas so much in the months prior. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and I wasn't home. So I would call my kids or video call and they say, Mommy, when I come to take us to this place, or when I come to take us. So sometimes when I take a break from Niku, I would just like go to playground with them for 1 hour or something. But I still didn't, they would be happy. I just didn't feel it was enough.
It was enough for them.
I felt like I checked out.
And can you describe a moment in the hospital that gave you hope and strength as a fighting mom?
Okay, so in Niku, for anybody who's been there, you realize that there are little wings. So today you can come to the Niku and your child is totally fine, relative. And tomorrow you can come and then you can see that things are not going well. And so when a wing can even come with just a normal blood test. The liver wasn't functioning properly, and then like 3 days
Today
later,
it's doing well.
They said the liver is functioning properly, and you're happy.
That's progress.
But then they'll give you some bad news. So I chose to celebrate the little. Like every time there's a good thing, I would write it down and say, "Thank you, God, for fixing this." And then I know this and this and this will be done. And the funny thing about Niku is things crop up. Every day, you think you've heard everything they have to say on the first day, and that is a lot. Meeting my baby for the first day, all the things they have to say, and then you come the next time and you say, "Oh, your baby developed 2 ducts in their hearts, and you're person and person. What does that mean? And they tell you actually it means holding heart, and you're like, holding heart? What? Like, this is something I used to hear, and people will be on TV soliciting, but like, and you're just saying it casually like this, you know. And another time they tell you your baby's heart has become large, or their liver, there's something wrong with
there was
the
a
liver.
story for every day.
Every day there's something else.
How would you prepare yourself? I mean, knowing that each time you would show up there'll be a story, how would you prepare yourself mentally before you enter into the hospital? Because this is a lot.
It's, for me, I would tell any mother that's going through it, it's okay to break down, because I can't recount the number of times that I actually broke down. Those breakdowns happens when I'm praying. It's like when you're praying, you can just exhale, cry, let the tears run, ask God whatever. So I would go in there knowing that yes, they're not going to give me everything I want to hear, but everything will be fine. I like to say it's all going to be fine. It's all going to work out in the end. If it hasn't worked out, it's not the end. So I always feel like once I get to the end of that tunnel of NICU, everything will be fine.
Tell me about the day you could take your baby home. Your miracle. Your fighting miracle.
Yeah. So as I said, it's going to be fine at the end. But I think that was a setup for another heartache on its own, because I assumed that when you're taking a NICU baby home, that means everything is okay. And no, but it just means that everything is okay for them to exist outside of the incubator, and everything is not really okay. So everything will be okay in like 2 years. And when they say in 2 years, when the child is 2, everything will be okay then. So yes, the day that we were going home was really exciting. She had been oxygen dependent for a long time. Most of the children that came through were weaned off like 5 days, 3 days, sometimes a week, but this girl was on oxygen for 51 days.
Wow.
And so after they weaned her off the oxygen and she could finally breathe on her own, they had to observe her a little bit for the next week to ensure that we could actually take her home. And then we did. So going home, it was like exhale. Most of the things that came up, I talk about a lot of things that came up in my book, but most of the things that came up have been sort of sorted, or at least she was on medication for something. So when you're being discharged, you're on different medication, different times of the day for different reasons. She was taking one for her heart, she was taking one to regulate fluid in her body so her liver doesn't enlarge too much. She was taking, there were medicines for different things, and the hospital visits don't stop. You have to come weekly, every 2 weeks, because they need to check,
see if she's making progress.
So that's why I said when you are leaving and you psych yourself that everything is fine, that's why we are leaving, it's a setup for like further disappointment. So I also talk about that in another chapter in my book, where I said I was home, but then I was feeling sad and overwhelmed. And even though everybody else, my family, my mom, but everybody was so
they were glad to have you back.
We are home finally. And so it didn't really make sense. Why are you feeling this way? Because you're home. But it was a lot.
It was a lot for you.
It was a lot.
So how old is Heavenly now?
She's 1.5.
How's she doing?
She's doing very well, especially from the beginning of this year.
Wow.
Last year was dramatic.
It was.
Yeah. We're in and out of hospitals, in and out. You have a preemie, you go home, yay. Just keep your baby wrapped, feed your baby regularly, we want the weight to get up, all those things. And you do all those things, and then the baby falls sick, the baby has a cold or something, and then it becomes like life-threatening. And you go to the hospital and all the doctors are, oh yeah, preemies are like that. Oh, so you knew preemies are like that. And you didn't say anything.
didn't prepare me for that season.
So we've had a lot of scares. But thankfully she's doing better.
And I've been speaking to some moms this month, and I'm finding out from some of them that during their period of pain, a purpose was birthed. I don't know if it's the same for you for Heavenly Miracles NGO, if you can tell us how that started.
Okay. So already I'm a co-founder of one NGO, which is Ronco, but we deal with children with disabilities. And so I'm not I'm not a stranger to that space. But yes, it's true, during my period of pain, purpose was birthed. I was in the hospital room, my ward, recovering from my CS. And then one nurse said, we need you to talk to another mother who is about to have a CS. And I asked, how many weeks is she? And she said, she's 34 weeks. And I said, okay, why do I need to talk to her?
Why do you need to be the one to talk to her?
She's so scared. Mind you, this nurse doesn't really know me. I was rushed to the bank hospital on the day of my CS. So this is when they met me. So she doesn't really know me. She doesn't know anything about me. I've not really interacted with her. Yet she felt like, she felt I was the person to talk to her. I said, okay, let her come in. So this lady walks in. As soon as she walks in, I recognize her. And I asked her, did you attend tech? She said, yes. Politics or geography? She said, politics. I said, okay. Yeah, I did geography, but I took politics as a minor. And she said she recognized me at once too. She does. You see, but when we were in tech, we're not even friends. So it just eased her up. She sat down. I asked her, what is it? She said, yeah, they said they have to have her CS today, and I said everything will be fine. And trust me, that was the day I met my baby. Everything was not fine with me, but I have to believe that everything's going to be fine. So there, it's as well. Look, my baby is 27 weeks. She said 27. I said yes. She said there, baby will be fine. And throughout my stay in NICU, apart from her, I had sort of advocated for other mothers, and I had been a shoulder for them to lean on, giving them advice here and there. They started calling us the NICU class prefects. After my stay there, of course, I had a lot of interaction with the nurses, the doctors. They work in other facilities like Kolebu, Ridge, and they tell me some of the stories, the mothers that come through. Some people abandon their babies because
they don't feel there's any future, there's any hope.
And other people for financial reasons. So
it's pretty expensive in NICU.
It is.
It is.
It is. So if there's someone there who's telling you that, look at me, right from the pregnancy, there was no hope. But look at me today. Look at my baby. The baby will be fine. It doesn't matter the number of tests you have to do for that child. The baby will be fine, and that baby has a purpose and future. And so that led me to set up Heavenly Miracles NGO. And the donation aspect is not really, even though we do donation, but the thing that is more important to me is giving mothers or families in the NICU hope.
How do you feel about what you've taken up? You've talked about the donations; those are more physical things we can give. But how do you feel when you see the hope on the faces of moms who think that all hope is lost? When you share hope,
it makes you fulfilled, and mind you, you're not sharing hope because your life is so.
You have it all together. You don't.
No, but you feel like, oh, God made me go through this because of this person, or I needed to meet this person. I needed to have this experience so that I can better relate and can better tell this person what they need to hear, what they need to know. See, whilst advocating for their babies. because what happens in NICU is that mostly they don't give you all the information. So if you have someone like me speaking up for a mother, asking what is wrong with this baby, what can be done, I can better explain it to the person and calm them down.
Wow, this is Sunny 88.7 from Vanessa SES, the Duffy's is Your Motherhood series, and I love that she has set up an NGO to better support moms to make their journey of having a preterm baby more manageable. I would say be filled with more hope than hopelessness. This one says, I've been crying too. Nico is sad. Last time I visited, I cried the whole time, even the bills. I myself have had postpartum hemorrhage, and it was just a lot. Sister, you're strong. She's indeed a miracle. You will see. And this one says, I'm a mother of a preterm baby girl. I experienced all what she went through. Baby came out on the 17th of November 2023 through CS, and at 36 weeks 6 days, but with a very low birth weight of 1.7. God has been faithful and grateful. It has not been easy, but I give glory to God. And when we're done with this interview, you need to see this baby. I wish you all could see this baby. She's so beautiful. Oh, thank you for your picture just made our day. Says she now weighs 6.6.
Wow.
She is such a beautiful girl. Thank you for sharing your picture, just lighting up our day. Yes, that's a lot. We thank God.
Difficult.
And Vanessa, for any mom listening right now, how would you encourage them through their period right now of having a preterm baby? What encouragement would you share those currently facing that challenge?
I think that one thing that helped me and kept me grounded was my faith.
Your faith?
Even though there were moments that you watch movies and see people sort of argue with God or shout and yell at him, and I've never done that before till Heavenly. I went.
You became an actress in the movie also.
And I was like, why did you think this was okay? Why did you think that I could go through this? I'm not that strong, trust me. And everybody in Nico, everybody I met kept, Vanessa is strong. Like, no, you people don't know how I'm feeling this thing. You get it? So my faith, but also my family, my support system, the people I had around me, my husband, my mom, my sister, my mom. Even when I asked my mom to leave, everything would be fine, she should just go home because she wasn't well. She wouldn't budge.
Wow.
You're not allowed into the NICU if you're not a parent. So she would go to the hospital with me. My husband and I will be inside, and she would be at the reception, just waiting. And I could be in there for 8 hours because I didn't want to leave. And I would meet her waiting, and she'd be tired, and I'd be like, you don't need to come. I need to.
She needs to.
So my support system, even though at the time I was saying you don't need to, trust me.
You needed it so badly.
Yes, I did.
And
so
I
rely
know
on people close to you, and then the first thing, your faith. And when you are in NICU, everything that you proclaim over your child, there's no scientific study for this, but most of the doctors and the nurses, they've acknowledged that the mothers of the babies that pull through the most are the ones that speak over their children.
Amen.
So even if you don't believe in God, I don't know, speak over your child. Speak positive things over the child.
Amen.
You will make it. You will be fine. Your life is a testimony. You are healed from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. There's nothing wrong with you. Maybe human beings are seeing that now. Maybe your tests are showing that now. But you are totally normal. And just keep speaking positive things. And it does so much. Your baby hears you too.
They do. I mean, right from when they're in your womb, they can hear you.
Your baby hears you.
How much more when they're out? Mommy says that is so true. I'm getting onto Facebook right now. Kwabena Saridako is watching us as the power of woman love. Constance Dicker says, miracle she is indeed. And says, this must be very expensive on your pocket. How do mothers who don't have the financial support do this? You are working with such moms. What do they do? How do they get through that period?
So this is where your advocacy comes in. I told you that the donation aspect is not, I feel like I could make a donation anytime, but I will talk to people about your case, help you to settle your bills and all that, because it's expensive. There are medications in NICU that your baby needs. Maybe they write it for, let's say, a 7-day period. Once that medicine is open, it won't get finished. But once it's opened, in 3 days they have to throw it out. And this medicine is costing 2,700.
You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
Oxygen. If your child is oxygen dependent like mine, where we were every week from Monday to Sunday, it's 5,000 cedis.
Every week?
Every week. But there are other facilities that I think is 1,000, some of them are 500, but for where I was, weekly 5,000 for only oxygen. They charge for the incubator. If your child is out of an incubator, they charge for the cot daily. But the most hectic thing is the medication. Medications these children need. They have something called surfactant for children that come out with underdeveloped lungs, and it's important that they give it to the child. And it's important that they give it to the child within the first 24 hours of life. And you're being asked to go and buy this thing, which is costing more than 6,000 cedis. So, surprise, you have a preemie. Surprise, you have more bills.
Your bills just shot up.
So people run.
I mean, now that and I know I've spoken to a number of moms like that, but today I'm getting like some more details of the cost. I mean, 2,700, 6,000. So some moms are leaving not because they don't love their children, but
because of the costs.
They can't afford the cost. They can't afford to bear seeing their child needing medication or being able to give it. Oh man, I have a message here. It says a big congratulations. I'm not directly experienced a preemie, but it's fearful when my son was almost coming out at 31 weeks, but he turned up at 38 weeks, and it's been an amazing journey. Those who say pregnancy is not a sickness just have not experienced scary pregnancies. I mean, while you were talking about being in the theater for CS, for my 2 children, I was in there pretty short time, and I was having conversations with the doctors. It was pretty nice. And then my third one, I was praying, because by this time I'm like, okay, it's 30 minutes, we should be done. We're not done. It's 45 minutes. I'm thinking, okay, now we've done over an hour. What am I doing here? What is happening? And I was just praying the whole time. So things happen when women have to go to have a baby. And Ernestina Cantil is also watching, says, amazing God. Bernie says, God bless you, Vanessa. You are a strong woman. Hayford Mante is also watching as Vanessa, thank you for coming through. This one says, I saw it happen. A long story, but yes, even if there's a crisis, speak. We're going to have to, my time is up, and I'm going to have to wrap up with Vanessa. But tell us about the book.
Okay.
Your book, yes.
Okay, so my book, it's called 27 Weeks of Courage, A Tale of Motherhood and Miracle. And long story short, I like to journal a lot.
Okay.
So throughout the whole process, I was journaling. So it's just my journal with a little flesh.
With a little flesh.
That's just it. If you want to get my book, I have an official author website, www.vanessatheauthor.com. www.vanessatheauthor.com. It's also on Amazon UK.
Okay.
If you want to purchase from there.
And anyone who wants to reach out to your NGO for some kind of support?
Okay, so I still haven't set up my website.
Okay,
that's my bad. But you can reach out to my personal pages on Instagram, TikTok. It's Arthur Vanessa Rich Bennet, and Facebook as well.
Vanessa, thank you for coming up this morning to be with us on the I Am Drive. I trust that you've encouraged some moms out there. And I hope if you're listening and you know a mom who's in NICU right now and they're feeling a hope is lost, you can share this link with them. And I hope it encourages them. I hope it lightens up their day. This is Sunny 88.7 FM, and I can't thank enough our sponsors who have helped us bring you all these women for this month of May. Duffy's Health and Beauty, and also TNU. Thank you so much for your support on the Easier Motherhood series. And I think I want to play this for you. It's The Doing of the Lord, Dana Hamilton and Mercy Chinwo. We thank God for the life of a heavenly Miro. Yeah.